Dani, hello.
Hello.
What is your position here at Dogmight?
I am the department head of finishing here.
Excellent.
And I've probably been the department head for like 6 to 8 months. I probably should have written down when I became the department head.
We have it written down for you.
Oh, good, okay.
No.
Well, you start with lumber that you get from the supplier. And we try to pick out the nicest looking woods for the Valhalla Screens because it is a bigger piece that is along 3 different panels. So we pick out the wood that makes us the most excited to make a Valhalla Screen. So we do, with the Valhalla Screen, we cut it down into 3 strips of wood, and then we make sure that they are all planed down to the same width, and then we join them so that they can glue together perfectly. And when we glue them together, we make sure that the grain is alternating. So basically what that means, if you look at the side of one of our Valhalla Screens, it kind of looks, it'll probably, or it should, look like it's going in a wave. And that helps to not warp over time. The grain kind of fights against each other instead of with each other. So when the grain wants to curl this way, the other one says, nope, we're going this way, and it hopefully stays straight for a very long time. Wood is very funny in that it constantly wants to keep moving even after we've cut it down, right? So it will continue to curl and change as it ages. So after the panels have had a chance to glue together and dry overnight, we take them to our CNC room. So the panels are a little oversized so that when we put them on the CNC machine, the sculpt sits just inside the borders of the wood, which makes it easier for milling over on. Valhalla Screens take about 8 to 12 hours to actually CNC. So we put them on around 2:30 or 3 o'clock every night, and they run overnight, and then we come in and put on shorter stuff that we do. And that's just to keep everything moving, and they're not, when we have people, we can use the people to change machines over, and when we don't. Comes off CNCs, now it has to go back to milling, and we cut the edges off, and the top, depending on what kind of top it's getting, whatever the customer ordered, you can get the straight cut or the organic cut, which just means that you're cutting it with the top of the sculpt. I like the organic cuts, especially on like the Cthulhu or the stuff that like flows really nicely. It's really fun. And then as a part of milling, we also cut the tracker slot on a router, and to do the organic cuts, we use a bandsaw. We cut it out. And then after milling, it goes to processing, and we drill the holes into the sides and the back for the accessories, and then put the magnets in, glue them in, and then it goes off to sanding. It can be. You do have to be careful. Because of the different types of sculpts we have, we can't just throw a template on it. You have to actually look at it. So that takes a little bit of practice and getting used to. A lot of the things in the shop, we might be able to do stuff like that where we just throw a template on it. Valhalla Screens are not the case. That is not the same. Yeah, so it goes on to sanding after processing. Josh has talked about the many tools that we use in sanding. A lot of the different ones we use specifically for Valhalla Screens. Every sculpt is different, and every time that comes off of the CNC machine, it might be a little bit different. And so just like with anything, you take a look at it and you go from there. But we use a Dremel for all of the very detailed work around the sculpt in general. I'm trying to think of like a specific sculpt that's harder than others, maybe like the Draculich or something, to make sure that it's nice and smooth all the way around. You have to do a lot more hand sanding on Valhalla Screens, I've found, than on all of our other stuff that we do. The smoother you sand it, the easier it is for finishing to stain it and eventually spray it. So the more work you put into it, the better the outcome is. So then it goes on to finishing. In finishing, it gets 2 coats of catalyzed lacquer. The first coat is a sanding sealer of sorts. It's a little bit softer, and really what it is doing is just making sure it is sealing all the work that we've done, all the wood. It dries much faster than our gloss coat, which is one of the big reasons that we use it, because we have to spray a lot. And then the gloss coat that goes on top of it, depending on the temperature, can take anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes to dry, sometimes an hour in the summer. And in between those, we have to scuff it. So lacquer is interesting, where it kind of, if you were to spray one coat on top of the other, it would just sort of melt back into the first coat. So scuffing it helps layer it a bit, and it gives it that really shiny, really pretty gloss that goes on top of it. The staining process and the staining sealer, every once in a while, depending on the screen, might raise the grain, and so scuffing can also help smooth that down as well. Yeah, catalyzed lacquer lasts forever. It sticks to basically everything we spray it on. And it is very durable, and if you scratch it, it's really easy to fix. So it's really nice to work with something that's hopefully going to last you forever, that you're going to use over and over again, or take a bunch of different places. Because specifically the stuff that we do, and probably Valhalla Screens, you want to go and show it off to your friends. You don't want to just sit in your house with it on a shelf. And so putting it in bags and taking it back out, or taking it to conventions or whatever, it should be able to last through all of that. My favorite thing about Valhalla Screens is just the creativity and the work we get to put into them. It is like a bigger way to show off all the cool things that Dogmight can do specifically. I love the artistry that goes into it. I mean, like, from the sculpt to if they're getting a selective stain, or even when they're not. No matter what, it is still just like the coolest thing that we do. And it takes longer for sure, but it is, I mean, you can see it for yourself. It's incredibly worth it at the end of the day. Like, it's like you get to sit behind a tavern. It's like, oh, now you and your friends are in a tavern. Sorry, there's no other option for you. And it's usable, right? Like, it's not like you're just putting up a paper screen with a picture on it. This has a ton of accessories that you can add to it. You can put your notes on it. You can track all of the initiatives, which is super helpful. So yeah, it's really cool. I have played D&D, specifically the 5th edition, for 4 years. I started online on Roll20 and places like that, because I didn't know I had friends that even wanted to play, so I played with strangers. And then eventually I started playing in person with friends that invited me to play. And I've played ever since. During quarantine, a lot of that went online, or I tried to play smaller versions of D&D, like with my boyfriend, and that was super fun. So yeah, in general, role-playing games were not a thing that I thought I was nerdy enough for. Well, I have to try it, and then you can't stop. So.
Oh, my favorite product. Fuck, I didn't think about this earlier. I think my favorite product is probably doing the player pads. I really like doing the kind of fun glue ups on the player pads. They seem to sell pretty well, which makes me feel good because I do them, and so that's pretty fucking tight.
Valhalla Screens. I had a Leopardwood Valhalla screen that came across my bench the first few months I started. It was Leopardwood Cthulhu, and that was the first inkling I got that Valhalla screens and sanding them are akin to sculpting, and so far that view has gotten me through many days sanding.
It's hard to say because I've worked on so much stuff, but lately I've had a lot of fun doing, whenever I've been given the opportunity to do a selective stain. That's been pretty dope. I mean, I think I tried something ambitious on a battlefield recently, and I don't think it got pushed through yet because I think I left some smears, but had a good time doing it. So
I do really like working on dice. Probably have to say that because I can put it through each of the stages, from sanding to finishing to engraving and inlay. You get to do pretty much everything.
Valhalla Screens, easy, because they're different every time. Each one's different.
Ooh, it's a tough one. I mean, the time clock isn't a product. That's usually my favorite thing to hit, but I guess Valhalla Screens. I mean, flat panels, all the different sculpts. They're all just unique. I like doing different mixed woods on the flat panels. I like the different engravings we can put on them. There's just so many possibilities, so many variations of what we can do with them. I think that's probably my favorite.
I think I like working on the player pad. It's the first one I got good at sanding finally.
It's board games.
Why?
Why did you laugh the first time I said that?
Because it's the only product you work on?
It's my favorite product to work on because I love board games and I get to be in control of everything and rule the board game world.
I would have to say the Valhalla screen. I love the 3D sculpt, especially sanding it. There's something about getting in there and kind of sculpting with the sander to make it perfectly smooth, and just wood has an amazing feel to it.
Well, my favorite product doesn't exist anymore. I really like making adventure cases, just because like it's one of our few like assembled products where you're cutting pieces and then putting it together yourself. You have to make sure all your cuts are extremely precise, or else the whole box is going to look like crap when it's done. And just, you know, it taught me so many skills that I use on all of my like Maker Day products and things I'm making for friends and family. It kind of all comes from that foundation of an assembled product.
I really like player pads because they're just so different each time, and like you can get really creative when they're stock.
I love our Valhalla screens. There's just so many different variances of them. Our selective stains are beautiful.
Favorite product? Honestly, the Valhalla screens are probably the best. They're easy. I mean, there's varying complexity, but it's generally pretty nice.
Is business a product? I think I enjoy anything with sculpture because I do a lot of the 3D rendering and sculpting. So really anything that's got cool, complex sculpts. I would have to say custom Valhalla screens are probably my favorite.
Emails. Just kidding. I actually really like doing inlay for dice, mostly because of how zen it is, and it's nice to kind of get out of the office and get to do something with my hands. Mostly just because it's really mindless. You just kind of start doing it, and then before you know, it's been 5 hours and it's time to go home. Whereas doing emails, it feels like it's been 5 hours and then it's been 5 minutes and it's time to suffer.
You've been talking about how it kind of feels, I don't know, like are we having enough fun? We are hilarious, and then the camera turns on and we get like, oh my god, the camera. So I can't.
We should have some beers.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm gonna ask you this, but
what?
Would you guys go get some beers and then record some fun shit? Are you taking the dog? No, you're not taking the dog. Is that them?
Alright, now we gotta go.
Oh, Jesus.
Snap Friday.
I bet like a 6-pack, guys.
Snap Friday.
Well, the one in our office is the executive fridge, but this is the secondary.
The local
Executive fridge at my house, where there's a really big keg of beer. It always comes out of the wall, so it's never broken. I think we need one here. Can we get a keg, Lindsay?
It's your company, Karen.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna stop you getting a keg.
Lighthearted Ale by Bell's, one of the greatest Michigan breweries. I like it a lot. I don't know if it's my favorite beer. I bought 2 4-packs and then they never got it again. But then Jeremiah, our wonderful production lead, happened to have a friend whose little store out in like a rural area, Bud Light, Fuller's ESB, Coors. And so he bought a bunch of it and gave it to me for my birthday. So, and that's why he always has a job here.
We should do this every Friday,
5%.
and we drink beer Friday afternoon.
Cameron, you already do this every Friday. Don't act like.
We should do it, and then we rate the beers that we have. So what was
good.
What was
Oh, that
your
would be a
top
cool segment.
Lighthearted Ale, Bell's Lighthearted Ale out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. It's pretty good. Let me quaff.
So I guess let us know in the comments if you want to see segments
Suggest beers.
where these idiots rate beers.
Don't tell us if you want to see us drink beers, because we don't want to know that answer. Just tell us what beers we should try, and then we'll do it.
I'm drinking Guinness,
which is
today.
How many different beers do you drink?
Thank you. I'm drinking Guinness today from Dublin, Ireland.
This is nectar of the gods, ambrosia, if you will. This is a 10 out of 10.
Ambrosia was a food.
So Cameron only
Food.
drinks Guinness.
I will drink Guinness or Murphy's makes a nitro stout that's very similar.
And why do you never have Murphy's here?
Because it's impossible to find. I can't get it.
I was gonna give away a product for anyone who could find a beer that you drink. But since you already have a different beer that you drink, I guess that contest doesn't work, does it?
If anybody can find a beer that tops Guinness, I will give you a $400 screen. Bring it.
There you go. Good luck. No one's gonna.
I like it.
No one's gonna win that.
Never gonna win.
It's gotta be a number. Rate it. 10 out of.
This is a 10. 10.
I'll give Bell's Lighthearted Ale. It's very good at what it's trying to be, which is just a tasty light pale ale. It's kind of like a lawnmower. It's got a little more hoppiness to it than a lawnmower ale.
What is a lawnmower ale?
It's one you can drink while cutting the grass.
So any beer.
No, it's,
yeah.
it's not a lawn. No. A lawn.
7.5 out of 10 is what I give.
So we're gonna sample some more of our choice beers, and then let's come back a little bit later, and we'll re-rate them after you've had a chance to drink a couple.
Can I have a beer?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sweet.
All right, bye for now.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Lie about your roles. Everyone knows that the GM is doing it, and you should as well. Fair is fair.